My goal as a homesteader, as a prepper, as someone who is trying to live sustainable, is to disassociate myself with the status quo, with what we call the quote-unquote matrix, with the way the world looks at things. I want to do things different. So what are 5 ways that I can try to keep myself and my family away from and disassociated from the status quo in the matrix? Well, we're going to talk about that today, and hopefully through this you will see the value in it. We are very strange. I say that in a good way. We tend to not live just all in the world and all the things that people do. I'm not saying that you're wrong or right. I'm not saying how you raise your family is wrong or right. But what I am saying is, as a prepper, as a homesteader, you will start seeing the difference in a society that if you take care of your independence and liberty as much as you can and not rely on someone else, you're going to see a major difference in your life, in your family's life, and also in the future. And we'll talk about it right now. This video is going to be a good one. It starts right now.
Oh my love, you're such a fragile thing.
Hey guys, welcome to The Max. If you're new to the channel, go down here, press subscribe, ring the bell. Give us a thumbs up or thumbs down, but let us know what you think about this video. Comment below saying, Colby, you're right, or Colby, you're wrong, you're terrible, you know nothing. That's okay too. But let us know what you think about this video. One thing about the comments is we learn together, and our goal is to build a community, just like what we're talking about, to be away from the system as much as possible, to have our independence, and to build liberties and freedoms that we hold dear to and that we can control a lot more than someone controlling us. As a man, as someone who wants liberty and freedom, I want to take care of my family. I want to make sure that we are not just so entangled in the world that we lose our freedoms and liberties. This is a big concern. This is just a list of things that we need to check off and say, you know what, how can we do better right here? And so you can't change everything right now, understand, but if you start doing these things, I honestly believe your life will look better and it will be better for your family. My kids are not impacted and influenced like some other kids because of what we do. We don't shelter them. We control a lot of their lives as parents should. I love my children. I want them to look at me as a friend, but more than that, I want them to respect us as parents. So that's a big deal. So let's jump into this list and I think you'll see what I'm talking about. Number 1. We homeschool our kids. One thing that we feel very, very, very staunch in our belief in is that if we are the ones that God gave these kids to, don't you think we're going to do the very best to raise them more than anyone else? You love your kids more than anyone else will love your kids. You want the best for your kids more than anyone else wants for the best for their kids. Now, we made a decision. It was a big sacrifice because Misty was a nurse. Misty made a good income for our family. But when we said, you know what, we're going to change this. We're not going to send our kids to school because we believe that homeschooling is going to change their life. We honestly believe that if we teach them in a home, we can ground them in good core values and morals to grow up with chivalry, with respect, with the care, with skills, with more than just plus and minuses, and more than just the indoctrinations that we're getting in school now. We're going to see young individuals that are growing up and being responsible. Do I want the best for your children too? Yes. Does that school, not want the best for your kids? I don't know. But ultimately, it comes back to you and your responsibility as a parent. So make the sacrifice. I know people say, I know they can't, they say they can't, but when we're good stewards with what God gives us with our children, I believe we can make the change. If you have kids or grandkids, pull them out of school and start homeschooling. Now, why do I say that? My kids don't have iPhones. We don't do any kind of internet-based social media or internet access for my children without it being in school or with us right there together as a family, because we will see the dangers in what social media does to our children. So when we homeschool, they're not influenced in a way that we see in maybe public schools or around a lot of other children. Now, they see other kids, they are with other kids that have phones at church and different events. Now, if that's not your view for your children to not have those accesses or to have those accesses, that's your choice. You have the freedoms and liberties to raise your children the way you want to. But what I've learned is when we can instill values and morals into our children and we let them understand the guidelines and the safety precautions that we've put in, we are raising children to be more responsible. My kids are not on any kind of medicine to keep them calm during school hours. I don't get a call from the principal because we are the principals. What I'm saying is it will change your life. When your kids learn education and learn to be grounded from their family unit, I believe it's biblical, I believe it's good stewardship, and I believe you will see a change in your family. Don't hate me for saying that. I believe it will change your family tree if you start doing this right now. Homeschool your children. This is a big way to keep your kids out of the system and not be taught things they shouldn't be taught at a young age. Number two, this is a big one when it comes to the skill set and with our children and when we're here every day. Our goal is to sit around the table and talk through things, talk about the day, and enjoy a meal together. We do that 3 times a day, meaning our kids are sitting around the table 3 times a day. Now me, I have to work, but I try to make lunch with them or breakfast with them, and then of course we sit down for supper together. So 2 meals out of the day, father and mother around the table with their children. We don't really have devices out. Unless it's emergency, we just really don't look at our phones or anything like that while we're around the dinner table. All the TVs are off. The point of this is we're building family time. We're learning to cook at our home and build a normalcy to this crazy world. Our world is crazy. When we learn to come around the dinner table, it gives a peace to our children. They see that. Also, it helps me because I'm in a stressful job each and every day. We're on a farm all the time. We're doing 2 or 3 jobs. My wife homeschools. She also takes care of our gardens right around the house and builds all these herbal tinctures, which we'll get into. We're always doing something. So when we sit around the table, it allows us to say, you know what? This is what it's all about. We do all this to have the freedoms and independence and sustainable choices and the stewardship to be able to sit around this table, to then cook together, to not eat junk food like fast food or any kind of processed food. We can learn to cook, have a cleaner diet, build a holistic diet, and learn to have a balance where we sit around the table and just spend time together as a family. Now, are we perfect? No. Does someone spill something and we have to get up and go crazy? There's times like that. It's a normal family. We have 6 kids, so our table time sometimes is crazy, but I wouldn't change it for the world. How do we disassociate and how we change our family tree? We say, okay, we've taken them out of school and we homeschool. We believe in it. We believe in homeschooling. Then we say, okay, we're gonna cook from scratch. We're not gonna put the trash foods from town and the convenience foods and the processed garbage in our bodies, and we're gonna learn to cook, sit around the dinner table, and be together as a family. That's a big deal, and it will change your family. And number 3, we want to break away from the commercial side of pharmaceuticals. We want to break away from the commercial side of living a normal life of being over-prescriptioned, being over-pharmaceuticalized. I just made that word up. I hope that's a word. I don't know. We've got to get away from just taking medicine for everything. If you've got a crappy diet, you don't need medicine to change that. If you can't control your emotions, you don't need medicine to control that. If you can't control your children, you don't need medicine to control them. Now, I know that may step on your toes, but if we put our whole life dependent on medication and pharmaceuticals, you're going to wake up one day completely dependent on major powers that will take your liberties and freedom. And what I mean by that is we're already seeing a shortage of pharmaceuticals. Well, if we depend on those things and we depend on those to be provided for us, then I believe we're gonna wake up one day and be in a bad, precarious spot. Now, I know some of you are on some kind of pharmaceuticals that's probably life-saving. God has given us great technology with people and wisdom to teach us great innovations and great medicine. Now, do I believe that you can get off those? No. If you're taking something for life, as in life-sustaining or you won't live, of course you've got to keep taking that. But here again goes back to my prepping mindset. You better find a way to build a 12-month supply. Talk to Jace, talk to other medicine providers that you can buy a surplus and a survival there too. Now, some people say, oh, that costs too much. It's either your life or medicine. I mean, it's one way or the other. So if you are on life-saving pharmaceuticals and you can buy a 12-month supply, you better do that. But if you're on things that just play with our minds, or you're on some kind of medication that you're not dependent on, life dependency on, you've got to start getting off of that. Now, one way to get off those kind of things and the dependency on that is you start eating holistically. It will change the way you look at food and the way that we try to heal our body. Food will naturally heal our body. I believe that. Get books and understand learning herbal medicine, learning remedies, learning how food can heal our bodies. You'd be so surprised if we go back in time and we look at how people raised their families in the Great Depression or even before, even going back to some of the Native Americans and seeing how they healed their bodies and healed their lands. It was all based on a natural medicine with food. What can your herbs do? We talked about herbs, we've talked about foraging. Learn how to use books to identify what's outgrowing, how important it is to see things that are anti-carcinogenic, things that help with diabetes, with cardio health and cardiovascular health. There's so many benefits to what God has given us. This gorgeous earth gives us everything we need if we would learn how to build the skills to find it. We've gotten into this microwavable, easy, convenient life in America. And I love the fact that I can talk to you on a camera. I love those freedoms. But they're going to slowly slip away if we don't learn how to disassociate ourselves from a system that may start overpowering us. You know, we've heard, getting away from the matrix. Well, you've got to start breaking away from that. Pharmaceuticals have such a big hold on our well-being. It's messed with us mentally. It's put people on the streets. It's built dependency issues and it's ruined families. You've got to start getting away from the pharmacies, from the medicines that you personally do not need. Start learning herbal remedies. Start learning how to holistically eat and change your life by doing good things. Our kids don't see us taking medicine at all. It's not even been brought in our home. Now, do we have certain emergency medicines? Yes, we've talked about that in a lot of videos. And we have been blessed with health. So I'm not saying if you have a medicine that your life depends on, don't stop taking that. You can learn how to build a holistic diet and maybe help that a little bit, but you need to start building a supply for that. But if you're not on medicine that's life-sustaining, you're on medicine that's causing life dependency. And life dependency will cause you to be in a very precarious way. Start learning herbal remedies. Start learning how to forage, learning how to identify the skills of other holistic food that can heal your body naturally. I honestly believe it will change your life. Number 4, you either better learn how to grow food, and do not give me the excuse that you can't grow something. You can grow something because you can grow through hydroponics, you can grow through microgreens and trays that they build inside, literally over a koi or goldfish pond, such as aquaponics. You can literally grow in windows. You can build this little makeshift greenhouse or build microclimates. You could grow in small little backyards. If you don't start growing something for yourself, you're gonna depend on a food system that is completely broken. This week it came out that most of the fruits and vegetables that are going to the grocers that are owned by these big conglomerates are starting to spray their food with more chemicals to make it last longer because they're seeing a broken food system. They're now coming out with bacon that is grown out of a petri dish, chicken out of a petri dish. Is that the kind of food that you want to put in your body? It's not nature. We are not gods. We cannot recreate what God has given us. So learn to grow food. Now, if you're not growing food, you have to learn to buy from local sources. Find people to barter with, to build a different system with. Learn to help that farmer out by buying their butter, their eggs, their milk, their pork, their beef, buying their honey. If you learn to buy as much local as possible, then it helps you, first of all, economically. It helps you have a more food sustainable way because you're building a relationship with a local farmer and not this big box store that could care less who you are. And also it's allowing you to then take some of your food and make it more holistic because you're seeing how they're growing it. You're seeing there's no chemicals on it, and you see that they're trying to feed their family with the same food they're feeding yours. So find someone who is growing quality food and you support them, because now you're building a relationship. So if you're not growing the food, find someone in your community that is. Building a community-style agricultural system will be the only way that you will not have families starving in your town one day. Either they're gonna eat trash, convenient, overly processed food and develop all the health issues to then get hooked on pharmaceuticals, or they're gonna take their food more local and start taking care of their grounds, feeding their family, or either use local farms to do it. Learn from the Amish. Learn from these big farmers. Learn people like Joel Salatin, who's doing it up in Pennsylvania, how he's growing sustainable agricultural for a huge part of their community. It's time to control your food. What we don't realize is food is it. If without food, we have no independence, we have no liberties, we have no way to barter, we have no way to build a community, we have no way to keep our strength. I mean, food is it. It's the diet that we have. Either makes us healthy, makes us unhealthy, life-sustaining, or life-ending. Freedom, liberty, or dependency on the government. Grow food. If you're not growing food, start buying it local. Go to your local farmer's market. Our little town is like 10,000 people. Our our county, if you take in all our county, it's only about 25 to 30,000 people. That's pretty small compared to a lot of cities. And we have 1 to 2 farmers markets each and every week for about 9 months out of the year. Learn to support those farmers, and if you start buying in bulk from them and you start being a good client, I promise you they're going to even give you better deals. Support local agriculture, grow your own food, and bring your community back into the swing. Teach them the importance of it, because we want independent food, not dependent processed food. Last way we can disassociate from the world matrix or the world issues and to not have the stress and anxiety that most people feel. Now, yes, we will have worries. Yes, we will have hard days. But if we learn to have hope in something bigger. Now, again, we're Christians, so we look at everything as God has given us this earth. We need to be sustainable, we need to be good stewards, and we need to have satisfaction through what God gives us. It's a hope that we have in Him. If we don't have that hope in Him, what do we have hope in? So I would challenge you again to find hope, spiritual hope in Christ. If you don't find hope in Christ, at least have some kind of way of looking at life in a perspective that we've got to work for something better. Don't believe spiritually like I do. At least look out for your children. Look for their freedoms. How can you take care of them better? By raising them right. There's morals and values no matter if you're a Christian or not. You need to have some kind of basis of right and wrong. When you teach your children right and wrong, morals and values, you learn to teach them skills, and you learn how to cook from scratch. You learn to sit as a family. You learn to get away from the pharmaceuticals and the medicines that's been pushed on us. We have so much mental illness in America. And then we learn to grow our own food. When we start doing all those things, we're building a hope that there is a chance for these kids to grow up in a better America than what we've got right now. So number 5, having hope, and understand that we have to have a goal, a vision. My goal and vision, of course, is to follow Christ and to raise our family the best way we know how, to doing the same thing. However, if you don't believe like that, like I said, you still need to have a goal and a mission for your family. Let your family see the values and the rights and the wrongs through what you're doing. As a man, you better be leading your family right. If you're not leading them, someone else is. If you're not teaching them, someone else is. And do we want to allow that to be people who don't care for our kids as much? Do we want that to be a government who doesn't look out for us sometimes? Do we want our food to be fed through a grocery store that we're just a number, a ticket? We're not actually a human being. We're just a cash dollar put in their machines at self-checkout? Think about it. Do you want to live with the stress and anxiety of food issues and anxiety issues with medicine? No, no one wants to live like that. So the ways you disassociate from the system, and we've talked money, and money's a big deal, and there's tons of videos I'll link on our cash and what we do with our cash to be away from the world as much as possible in a bartering situation. But these 5 things, you feel the storm coming in, the wind? We have a big storm blowing in, so I'm gonna try to wrap this video up. But these 5 things, these are the principles that we need to instill in our families to build good core values and morals, to understand that we want to change America and to disassociate from what America is telling us that's right now. I think all right is wrong and all wrong is right now. And how are we living? How are we raising our kids in it? These 5 ways. From homeschooling to eating holistic foods, to growing holistic foods, to then buying local foods and communities, supporting those, having hope and a goal for our family. All that matters. Hopefully you see the value of that. So I had some hot button issues such as the schooling issue, growing your own food, quit eating fast food, and quit taking medicine. That's a lot of hot button issues. Before you dog me out, I want you to look at it and say, okay, how could this be better for my family if I just tried it? Try it for a week or month. Try sitting around the dinner table for 1 or 2 meals a day. Try turning all devices off and try to devote time to your children or to your spouse. It will make your marriage better and also your children's relationships better with you. If your kids are in school and you can't homeschool, then you need to work even harder to be the best father and mother and to teach them, because remember, you're not with them nearly as much as what some of the teachers are. So what kind of values and morals are you instilling in your children? Or what kind of values and morals are they instilling in your children? Be responsible, take care of your children, take care of your family. 5 principles to disassociate from the world, the matrix, however you want to look at it. It's going to end up being better for you and your family. Let me know what you think about this video. If you're new to the channel, go down here, press subscribe, ring the bell, give us a thumbs up. Go check out our other video, our vlogs about our farm, about our family, called the Max Life. Go check that out. Remember, we're gonna be doing a giveaway in the next few days. All you need is to be subscribed to both channels. Comment and say, hey, I'm subscribed, and you'll be entered in the drawing. Guys, thank you again for watching. God bless. Happy homesteading.
I won't